Today, we are going to implement a Python program that lets you check the current price of Bitcoin based on the amount you want to buy. So here's a quick preview of what we are going to create. And we'll recreate that in just a few minutes. So buckle up and let's get started. First, we need to create our main function. So let's create the main function. So right now, let's assume that there's a function that asks users for the Bitcoin amount and then checks if the input is an integer and that integer is greater than 1. So first of all, let's create an infinite loop with while true. Then we'll try to do this. Let's try and ask users for their inputs. We will convert it into a float. So let's handle the case whereby the users gives us a value that is a string. Then the next thing we need to add is another validation check. If the Bitcoin is lesser than 1. So if it's lesser than 1, we say continue. We then return the Bitcoin since it has passed all the whole validation test. So let's go ahead and test this function if it actually works. So to test this function, we'll say let's print out the value. So let's go ahead and test it in our command terminal. So let's give it a string. First of all, it rejected the string. Let's give it a negative number. Rejected the negative number. Let's give it 0. Rejected 0. Finally, let's give it 1. Alright, it returns 1. So that means the function works as intended. Let's store the value in a variable. So next thing we need to do is to get the current price of Bitcoin. So luckily for us, there are free API that can render the service we are looking for. All we need to do is to just install the request library. So the request library will allow us to interact with the API, import requests. Okay, I haven't installed the request library in this system, so let's go ahead and install the request library. So to do that, we simply need to say pip install requests. Click on enter. So let's wait for it to install. The request library has now been installed. Next thing we need to do is to create a function and name it Bitcoin price. So let's create another function And the aim of this function is to get the current price of Bitcoin. Let's just try and accept. Let's try to make an API request. Now we need to convert the response into a JSON file, a JSON format. We need to pass through this data and actually get the Bitcoin price. Let's handle for exception. Alright, now let's test if this Bitcoin price function works as intended. Let's create another function that will calculate the total Bitcoin cost. Let's call this function calculate total price, calculate total cost, and then pass in the two arguments, which will be the Bitcoin amount and the price. So we are done with this code. Let's test it and see if it works. So it's asking us for an amount, let's say 2. Let's check the price of 1 Bitcoin. So this is the current price of 1 Bitcoin. So if you like this video and want me to keep on creating more content like this in the future, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell. If you encountered any challenges along the way, please let me know in the comments section. Till next time, I'm your boy, Tech with Akan.